Okay, good to have everyone this evening. It depends on when you're watching us from. Good morning, good evening. It's good to be back again to review. This is week 3. We're going to be reviewing the 7 habits of highly effective people, and it's really, really great to be here again today. So, if you are watching this right now, it would really be beautiful to know where you're watching us from. Please let us know where you're watching from. That would really be beautiful. Okay. So, very quickly, I'm sharing this to my audience so everyone can join. So, for those of us who have been following, we recall that we are through with the first habit of highly effective people. So now we are on the second habit of highly effective people. Thank you very much. Okay, it will take me just a moment to notify my community that we are live. That once I notify everyone, then we'll start. Okay. All right. So, once again, I want to say good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sylvester, and I'm happy to be your host again this evening. Today, we are going to be reviewing this book. And today, the habit we're going to be reviewing today is a very special one. It's one of my favorites, and I will be doing that with a friend of mine, Edesiri. She's going to be joining us shortly. Edesiri will be doing this with me today. Excuse me. So today we're going to be looking at some principles of personal leadership, because if you must lead others, if you must interact with others, you must be able to live by some principles of leadership, not just management. So, and it is in this chapter you will learn about the difference between leadership and management. So, very quickly, without further delays, I'm going to stop this music right now, and then we are going to, just to establish protocol, I'm going to quickly introduce Edesiri Imonieroh. She's a psychologist. She's a community development advocate, and she's also a social worker and a digital creator. So she'll be joining us this evening to review this book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. So, and let's quickly take a dive and see a preview of what we've been doing. If you look at the book, like I said, has part 1. We are currently in part 2 that talks about the second habit, begin with the end in mind. Last week, which was the second week of this 8-week review we are doing, we looked at being proactive with Marianne. This time, we're going to be discussing the second habit. And after that, next week, we'll look at the third habit. So just for us to go into, before we go into this habit, I would like for us to let me just open the book for us to see. This is the book. Yeah. sharing my screen right now. And I'm just going to give you an advice that Stephen Covey gave in this chapter. And this is not the first time he's saying this. Even in the first part of this book, he advises that you clear your mind of everything and position yourself somewhere in the corner of a room, and then picture yourself in the eyes of someone else. So, but in this case, in Habit 2, Stephen Covey is saying that we should try to, for a moment, leave everything you're doing right now and try to focus in today's edition of what we are doing. Okay. So this is what he wants us to do. He wants us in our mind's eye, let us see ourselves going to a funeral. In our mind's eye, let's just visualize that we are going to a burial ceremony, or we are going to, yes, a burial ceremony in the church or in a small parlor, a funeral service. Let's just imagine that. That's what he wants us to imagine. And I have a video here that can explain this better to us than we can even visualize, because I can see you. And the way I can see you now is just using the comment section. Just type your name and where you are watching from, please. It will help me to relate with you better as we proceed. So I'm going to play a short video for you. This video hopefully will describe that picture in your mind. So let's just quickly watch this video.
Now, imagine you're at a funeral, but this one's different from all the funerals you've ever been to. You're standing over the casket and you see yourself. What do you have to say about yourself? This is one of the most powerful questions you could ask. Are you doing the things in your life which are aligned with what you want to be able to say? Do you want to say that you are a good spouse? If that's the case, how does coming home and instantly being negative towards your spouse affect that? Do you want to be remembered as a person who added value to society? If that's the case, are you doing the things that will allow you to say that, or are you scared of failure and choose comfortable mediocrity instead? Almost every one of us will have to readjust how we live when we ask this question. Habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. Now,
so I'm going to take this video again because it didn't start from the beginning, just briefly.
Now, imagine you're at a funeral, but this one's different from all the funerals you've ever been to. You're standing over the casket and you see yourself. What do you have to say about yourself? This is one of the most powerful questions you could ask. Are you doing the things in your life which are aligned with what you want to be able to say? Do you want to say that you are a good spouse? If that's the case, how does coming home and instantly being negative towards your spouse affect that? Do you want to be remembered as a person who added value to society? If that's the case, are you doing the things that will allow you to say that, or are you scared of failure and choose comfortable mediocrity instead? Almost every one of us will have to readjust how we live when we ask this question. Habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. Now, imagine you're at a funeral, but this one's different from...
Okay. All right. So, guys, everyone, pardon me, I believe you just watched that video that describes the scenario that Stephen Covey is trying to explain here. So, I don't need to say much again. The video explains it, that imagine that you're in a funeral, your family, a member of your family is there, your colleague is there, your children are there. Just imagine what comes to mind. What would you hear those people say? Okay. So, and one part that I've bookmarked in this book says, what character would you like them to have seen in you? What contributions, what achievements would you want them to remember? This is something that many people do not think of. Every one of us, we just continue living our lives and feeling like what we have right now and what we are doing is all there is to life. So, and Stephen Covey advises that before we go further into this review, that you should take a little moment to jot down your impressions. Now, so that you don't get distracted, if you're unable to do that right now, especially for those who may not have the book right now, at the end of today's review, there are some application suggestions that we have munched out from the book in a way that you are able to apply them to your life. So before I delve right in, Our guest reviewer is here already, and that is the person of Edesiri. Edesiri, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you so much. And I understand that you've had a very hectic day and that you've had to, I don't even know how you got here, but I know you've been appealing to for to just but thank you. I'm just trying to express how grateful I am that you are able to make it despite the circumstances you may be going through with the timing. So
Thank you
now
very
that
much.
you are here, we are looking at the okay. I think now that you're here, maybe I should just show them this so that they know who you really are. This series is a psychologist and she's a community development advocate. She's a social worker and she's a digital creator. And she
Yay.
also has a channel where she reviews books. Also, I used to follow some of her reviews. She posts on Instagram and so other social media platforms. So it's a great honor to have Edesiri here today. Edesiri, once again, welcome. Where are you watching us from today? Or where are
Wow.
you participating from today?
I'm in my office in Worry. I just came in minutes ago to catch up. So sorry about the timeline.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Okay,
Yeah.
no, that's fine. So we have just played an animation that described that picture Stephen Covey wanted us to imagine ourselves at a funeral, right? So we're just about now to talk about okay, what is this? What is the implication? What does it mean to begin with the end in mind? So just to guide us, I have actually bookmarked some parts of the books here that will guide us. So, but meanwhile, we would like you to speak briefly about what do you think Stephen Covey means by saying beginning with the end in mind, and how can we apply this to our personal lives?
Okay. All right. Thank you once more for having me. I would particularly like to make use of examples, like simple examples. I think it's Apostle Paul. It's scriptural that when I was a child, I thought like a child, I acted like a child, and I spoke like a child. Now, if you were to reminisce on when you were way younger, can you remember all those your friends that you're probably rude to in school, and some friends you were harsh with, and then eventually when you grow up and then you start recalling those moments, you'll be like, oh, I wish I didn't do this, I wish I didn't do that, because eventually you just realize that life is way much more. And just imagine some persons you have also met probably in the university, and probably you acted really, let's say you did something very unfairly to such a person, and then later on in life, like you're done with school, you're in NYSC, or you're preparing to get a job, and then just imagine you meet that person, like that person is one of the admin or the interviewees, that interviewers for that particular opportunity. What will go through your mind is, oh my goodness, I wish I never insulted this man, or I wish I never, duped this person, this and that. So the whole idea of taking actions in terms of having the end in mind is having the understanding that that life is like a ripple effect. Anything you do has a ripple effect. It will always spiral back to you. I think there's this word they use. There's this particular way we call it on an average day. Is it karma? They also call that,
Yeah,
like whatever you would also come back to you. So the whole understanding
exactly.
is that one thing that makes adults truly adults is when we actually sit ourselves down and have that very serious discussion that, hey, this my attitude has to change, or how I treat people has to change, or how I view instance, or how I respond to things, or how I have been reacting to things. It simply has to change, because we all grew up with what different temperaments, family background. We have different academic background, stories, different. We are all from different culture, and the whole idea of becoming an adult
Different
is that,
paradigms. Yeah.
yeah, you just grow up and tell yourself you have to stop this, because this person's can end up being in a position in the future whereby they would have to help you out. So just imagine
Yeah.
you. I think there's this prayer point we have. It's very popular in Nigeria. We say, "Oh Lord, my helper, wherever my helper is, let my helper locate me." Just imagine you are the one giving issues to yourself, so your helpers can't help you anymore because you have
You're
spoiled the
chasing
way.
them away.
You
Exactly.
have done everything wrong because you refuse to sit down. I'll give you a very simple instance. I'm talking about something that just happened very recently. Like I'm part of a community that has like a global platform, and we are part of the executives. So something happened, and it was between us and the person in charge of the finance aspect of the entire institution in Wari. And something happened, and then this lady just literally, how would I put it? Literally started bombarding all of us based on different records, acting weird and funny, and eventually this person was suspended. And if you speak to that person till date, she'll still feel like she's right, literally fighting everybody off. It's an attitude character that she must have noticed way earlier, and she didn't deal with
Mm.
it, and it's still affecting
Okay.
her till date. If you really think about it, most of us growing up, some things your parents told you, this thing where you did do, that's why you go outside go do, and we thought they were joking. But honestly, when you start growing up, you
Exactly.
realize that what you were doing at home, you
Yeah.
took it out, then you just fought lots of things, relationships, opportunities. You just messed a whole lot of things up. So the whole idea of having taking actions with the end in mind is knowing that whatever you do will
Mm.
come back. So yeah, that's the way I
Exactly.
view it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So, in summary, I think you've made all the examples, and thank you so much for driving home your points with great examples. So, in summary, according to how Stephen Covey has called it, like those of you who have been following us, you know that my red highlighters are very compulsory areas where we should focus on in these books, and the blue ones are just light areas, but the red ones are areas I wouldn't want to miss, and then the purple ones we are supposed to read live on this stream. So to begin with the end in mind, in summary, means to start with a clear understanding of your destination. So I think if we go further, I think there's a part that explains clearly that this chapter has to do more with purpose, no, having a purpose for living, right? I don't know if you agree with me on that, Edesiri.
Okay, definitely. Purpose always drives what we do. I
Yeah,
think we're just saying that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. So yeah, definitely.
exactly, exactly. Exactly. So there's a part, and then if you go further in the book, one of the subheadings in that book, which we're going to be looking very quickly as we continue, talks about all things being created twice. Like there's
Yeah,
nothing in this earth that wasn't created twice. For instance, God who created this world, he decided in his heart first, I want to create man in my own image, right? So he imagined it first and then he went into action. Okay. So there was a mindset, there was something he had pictured in his mind before that. And for instance, here, according to Stephen Covey, it says the carpenter's rule is measure twice and cut once. So
mm,
for carpenters, even builders, technicians, you see them, they make sure they get these assumptions right first before they get into the reaction. Even in our speeches, before coming live today now, everything we've done here, you have to prepare first, which is the first creation, right? And the
yeah,
second creation. Everything has a two parts. And then we are either the second creation of our own proactive design, or we are the second creation of what people think about
yeah,
us. So that's why it's very important. I don't know if you read that part where it said self-awareness. Self-awareness is key, because
yeah,
once you are self-aware, no matter what anyone says about you, it really doesn't matter. Sometimes some people, your first creation will determine what happens in your second creation, because of how you have been stereotyped, or because of some of the narratives that the scripts that people have written for you, according to how the book describes it. So, in summary, Stephen Covey says habit one is be proactive. It says you are the creator, right?
yeah,
Then habit two says begin with the end in mind, which means habit two is your first creation. as a creator, the first thing you must create is purpose. You must begin with the end in mind. And that leads us to there's a part I would like you to discuss briefly, Edesiri. But before that, let's just treat this. Let's focus on this book because there's a part I want us to read. We all read it loudly. I don't know if you can see the screen. I would want you to volunteer to read this purple part for us. And then it's very important because one thing we can learn from here is that leadership is not management. If I scroll down towards here, I think towards the end, Stephen Covey noted that leadership is lacking in our personal lives. Most of us, we keep thinking about management approach, but that is not the best approach. He clearly defined what leadership is and what management is. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if you could help us. Can you see the screen? If you could help us read this, it's a very good narration, illustration that explains what personal leadership really means. So if you can see it, can you please help us read it? Thank you.
All right. It says you can quickly grasp the important difference between the two if you envision a group of producers cutting their way through the jungle with machetes. They are the producers, the problem solvers. They are cutting through the undergrowth, clearing it out. The managers are behind them, sharpening their machetes, writing policy and procedure manuals, holding muscle development programs, bringing in improved technologies, and setting up working schedules and compensation programs for machete wielders. The leader is the one who climbs the tallest tree, surveys the entire situation, and yells, "Wrong jungle!" But how do the busy, efficient producers and managers often respond? Shut up, we are making progress. As individuals, groups, and businesses, we are often so busy cutting through the undergrowth, we don't even
Exactly.
realize we're in the wrong jungle. And the rapidly
Mhm.
changing environment in which we live makes effective leadership more critical than it
Okay.
has ever been in every aspect of independent and interdependent life. Wow,
Wow. Wow.
very
This
interesting.
is really inspiring. So you see how sometimes we keep focusing our energy, our time in the wrong things, right?
Yeah,
So and we keep thinking that management is all there is, but leadership is something we must solve within ourselves before management issues, right?
concept.
So I believe the lessons from this illustration or story is really clear. So
Yeah,
we are going to be skipping some parts, or maybe I'll just read through some of the bookmarks I have here before we come back to you. So
all right.
it talks about the how you can rescript yourself and changing paradigms, what you need to do. He talked about two additional unique human endowments that you will need to expand our productivity. Those two very important endowments we can learn from this book are imagination, the power to
Yeah,
imagine, and conscience. Those two things combined with self-awareness, these two endowments empower us to write our own script, to define or to change paradigms, right? To shift paradigms. So that's what Stephen Covey talks about in this book. And then here he talks about the story of Sadat, who
mm,
was I think do you remember this part of the book? Sadat was saying, "I will never shake the hand of any Israeli as long as they occupy 1 inch of Arab soil. Never,
yeah,
never, never." And what he did, he influenced so many people to have this mindset. But then
mm,
along the line, he rescripted himself. I think that was when he was in prison. And
yeah,
then at the end, he was able to use his self awareness, his
mm,
imagination, this endowment we are talking about, and his conscience to exercise personal leadership. And these things cannot happen. You can't have this right imagination or let your conscience come into play if you don't submit yourself to complete awareness, right? So, and with this, he started having a change in paradigm and changed the way he saw the whole situation. And from what we learned from the rescripting that happened to him and that paradigm shift, flowed changes in behavior and attitude that affected millions of lives in the wider circle of concern. Remember that this is somebody who was influencing people negatively. So the summary here is that we are all responsible. That is being proactive. We are all responsible to use our imagination, the power of imagination and creativity to write new paradigms and new perspectives, new narratives. Are we together? Are you still with me? Hello? Okay. My network glitch a little.
Can you?
Okay. You still here?
Yes, I
Can you still
am.
hear
Can you hear?
me? Edesiri?
I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so this is one part now we are going into, and that part talks about mission statement. And I would like you, Edesiri, to please read this mission statement briefly. Now, mission statements are are tools. They are a means, they are the most effective way that Stephen Covey recommends for us to begin with the end in mind. And
Yeah.
in this chapter, he described mission statements as constitutions. You know, a constitution in a country, once it's there, it's there. The country, the whole citizen are expected to live and abide by that constitution. And it is not every day you review constitution, you know. So
Yeah.
once we have a personal mission statement, it's something that should guide us. It's just like values of a company. Apple, for instance, IBM, for instance, they all have core values, and it's not all the time you see them changing these values. They keep living to in line with those values. So for those of us who may want to craft a personal mission statement, let us see an example of Robert Kerr, who has expressed his personal creed in this way. He starts by
Okay.
saying, succeed at home first. So I don't know if you could just help us read these remaining lines.
Okay.
Can you see the screen? I'm sorry, I thought I was even sharing my screen all the while.
Okay. All right. I can
Yeah.
see now. I'm seeing seek and merit divine help. Never compromise with honesty. Remember the people involved. Hear both sides before
Mm,
judging. Obtain counsel
mm,
of others. Defend those who are absent. Be sincere yet decisive. Develop one new proficiency a year. Plan tomorrow's work today. Hustle while you wait. Maintain a positive attitude. Keep a sense of humor. Be orderly in person and in work. Do not fear mistakes. Fear only the absence of creative, constructive, and corrective responses to those mistakes.
so those
Facilitate
mistakes.
the success of subordinates. Yes. Listen twice as much
Hmm.
as you concentrate or concentrate all abilities and efforts on the task at hand, not worrying about the next job or promotion. Wow, these are
Wow.
deep-seated
Wow. Thank you very
lessons.
much. I'm
Yes.
telling you. So imagine that this is or should was, I don't know if that person is still alive, was
Mhm.
is or was the personal creed of that person. So what this does for you is, and what Stephen Covey recommends is that you print this. According to him, in his own family, what they did was they printed it largely somewhere in their house.
Hmm.
And imagine you waking up every morning to somewhere in your room, and then you see that you have written somewhere. It's like a constitution for your family that you would
Man,
develop one proficiency every year. You get,
yeah. Hmm.
so you see how very productive and noble your personality will turn out to be. And then see another statement that's there that says facilitating the success of subordinates, facilitating the
Very,
success of people working with you. So when you
yeah.
imagine that, okay, these are people who are working with you, and then you see that, see how miserable their lives are looking, and then you are thriving, you are excelling. So what's that? This kind of creed or personal mission statement is expected to keep you back on track, to say this is what I really want people to say about me when I am no more. So you adjust your life and start living those things that can make them change the narratives they would tell when you are no more. Am I right, Edesiri? Okay, I think I want to believe Edesiri is still there. Okay,
Can you hear
Edesiri, are
me?
you still there?
Yes, I
Okay, I can
am.
hear you now.
Okay.
Okay,
So I said that
okay.
these are like your guiding tools. They whatever action you're
Hmm.
taking, whatever response you're giving, it's like at this front. Usually we use the word back end. This one is not back end anymore. Front at the front of your mind.
I'm telling you.
Yes, it's
Exactly.
like what we could say is what chisels you. It chisels you into shape. It
Yeah,
keeps you standard, that value system,
yeah,
that
yeah,
how we're going to this is what we're
yeah.
running with, and this is how our
Hmm.
actions are determined by. So it's very clear. Most of us use some of this mission statement. I've heard of this different occasions, especially the other ones that talked about
Hmm.
how to treat your subordinates and the rest. So yeah,
Hmm.
I believe if
Hmm.
each individual we see out there were to adopt, let's say 1, 2, 3,
Hmm.
we're in a better place actually
Hmm.
as a personal mission
Yeah.
statement.
That's beautiful. So I believe I deliberately put this on the screen for us to see, and there's a new word there that for some of us it's called logotherapy. If you read chapter 1 that talked about proactivity, you would have come across Viktor Franklin, who he was the one who developed this philosophy that he assumed that logotherapy can eliminate emptiness by helping
Mm,
individuals to detect their unique meaning and mission in
mm,
life, which I would also call your purpose in life. It is those who do not have a purpose in life. You don't have an end in mind. You don't see that there's a greater thing that you are meant to accomplish in life. It is the reason why
uh,
you focus all your efforts
on
using your matches to cut everywhere, and while they are when you are in the wrong jungle. Okay, so once you have that sense of mission, that's there's a mission you must accomplish, there's great purpose for your life, you have the essence of your own proactivity. So having said that, this is where I would like you to also come in to speak briefly, which is at the center. At the center, this is another part of Stephen Covey's work. He says it is here that we use our endowments of self-awareness to examine our maps. Okay, so whatever is sits at the center of our life will be the source of our security, guidance, wisdom, and power. So, and I've summarized everything in this slide. So, Edesiri, I know you've studied this book, and so you can see the 4 life support factors that Stephen Covey actually recommends. We have about 10 to 15 minutes before we round up this session, but these 4 factors, security, guidance, wisdom, and power, they are very key to bringing out the best. Security and guidance, like it stated here, brings true wisdom, and wisdom becomes the spark or catalyst to release and direct power. So the point
mm,
is, when these 4 factors are present together in our lives, harmonized and living by each other, they create the force of a noble personality. That's the real effective person that we should be. So what did you draw from this chapter of the book where it talks about the things that people put in the center of their life, family and etc.? Thank you. Is it Desiree there?
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. I can
Hello?
hear you now. I can hear you
Okay.
now. Wasn't here.
All right. So we're going to talk about what is the centerpiece, what is the unifying factor of one's being, what holds you together, what keeps you
Mm,
connected and always in tune with your purpose. This is what the whole idea of security, guidance, power, and wisdom is all about. And I loved so much the examples, images of, and like I mentioned earlier, I would preferably make use of examples so that we can drive home the
yeah.
lessons. So I would like to pick one that is very peculiar or particular to all of us, which has to do with the family aspect. So, if we really want to understand what it means on how we see life and how we perceive life, um, at the back, okay, let's
Mm,
say what drives us. You mentioned a number of things that drives different individuals. Some we have individuals who are mostly driven by money. We have individuals who are mostly driven by their family, like, oh, everything has to be for the family, with the family, in the family, within the family, everything family. We have those who are so career is like everything for them. And in terms of
exactly.
looking at these different individuals, you can actually see how their security plays out, how wisdom plays out, how power plays out as well. So if we are paying much attention
Exactly.
to, for instance, let's say someone we call a family man or a family woman, you always see that they always find their security in terms of the family unit. It's always about, oh, how they take care of their
Yes.
home. Oh, they have to be
Mm,
there on time. They have to attend to family. Every single thing, whatever they are doing without, whatever they are engaging, the people they are engaging is always have to find a balance back home. Meaning that if the family is not together, if the family is no longer a strength, it appears like this person is all over the place. The person is completely off guard
agree.
because it finds a sense of worth. It
Well,
finds a
yeah.
sense of
Mm,
I am okay. The family unit. I want to talk about in terms of wisdom, the decision making. Because I want to talk about wisdom, I'm talking about knowledge
mm,
being put to action. So in terms of how you're already
mm,
exposed your home, whenever you do, oh, I'm
mm,
making actions and it's in line with what works for my home. So whatever is going on is always
yeah.
in that aspect as well. So when we
Mm,
also refer to
yeah.
power, in terms of one who is family minded, of who has family in terms of their center, they're always looking at how
Mm,
is their, oh, let's say the word how they get their chair or how they feel like when they're in their home in terms of the strength they pull out from there. So if the home is, let me say for instance, they have like abusive situations, or if it's in terms of this person is not getting that self-worth validations, it's as though the person becomes
mm,
powerless and then their strength is
yeah.
just disposed and everything. So basically, that's how I view these centerpieces. I believe there's one I'm
Yeah.
missing out on guidance, right?
Yeah,
Okay. In terms,
there's
yeah,
even more, but time will not permit us to take all of them. There's the worst of them all is self-centeredness. There's even the
yeah,
church-centeredness, right? So people just feel church is everything, right? And then I think there's even in the book there's a part I would have also loved us to read, but time will not permit us. So, but then after this video, for those of you watching right now, and there's going to be a summary on my blog. I'm going to do well to post the summary on my blog so that we can catch up on all these things. Some people are money centered, some people are work centered, some people are friend centered, some are enemies centered, and
mm,
like you have said, family spouse centered. But self-centeredness is the worst of them all. But then at the end, Stephen Covey recommends something, and that is the principle centeredness as the most important one. He said, by
yeah,
centering our lives on correct principles, we will be creating a solid foundation for development of the 4 life support factors. Don't forget those 4 life support factors I earlier showed us here. And those 4 life supports, as you can see under the arrow there: wisdom, guidance, power, and security. The 4 life support factors. So he said, for instance, if you are principle centered, your security is based on correct principles, not because of your, not because of this one. If you are taking a decision, you are taking a decision based on data, based on facts, based on this is what I really want to do. You understand me, Edesiri?
Yeah.
So for time will not permit me to go into the book. I would have just showed us some things about the book. So we will just go further. But the most important thing here is, if you are taking a decision in life, what we are being advised here is those decisions should not be influenced by family only. Are we together? It should not be influenced by our self-centeredness. It should not be influenced by all these alternative centers that have been mentioned, money or work-centeredness, etc. So this is the story. This is the part. Yeah, this is the part I would have wanted us to read. But time will not permit us, because it clearly narrates what a principle-centered person would do in a situation. For instance, your boss called you today and say, "Hey, Edesiri, you have an appointment with me in the office by 7 p.m. Meanwhile, you had already discussed with your wife that 7 p.m. is when you will celebrate your anniversary, maybe your 5 years anniversary. So what will you do at that point? What will be your decision? If you are family centered, you may start feeling somehow. If you are work centered or income centered, it will imply. But principle centered persons will be clear on what decision to take,
Yeah.
and they will be proud of those decisions. So gradually we are coming to the end of this book, and it's very important that I want to advise that we do well to write our personal mission statement. A mission statement is not something you write overnight. Like I want to share with you briefly. While I was having a devotion with my family this morning, we were together after we had gone through the Bible and all that. I brought out this book and I read to them um, how we need to actually implement our own family mission statement, which I called the family constitution. We have actually created a space, a big place where we are going to print a banner and put that mission statement. Over the weeks, I've already been sending bits of content that should make up, or values that should make up our family constitution to my wife. So she is the one developing it, reviewing it. It's not something you should write alone. If it's your colleague, because the call to action today, you need to do this with your colleagues. If it's your colleague, if it's your family members, if it's your friends, seek their opinion before coming together with this, and then work on get something straight. For me personally, for going to 10 years now, I still have my own personal statement, and then I influenced my family with it. So I printed my own.
Wow, that's interesting. Wow.
Yeah, so I printed my own several years ago. It's in a small banner. I don't know why I didn't bring it out for this meeting. Where I use as a bachelor, it was in my bathroom. So every time I'm bathing, I see everything there, everything about me, my mission statement, the drive, my confessions for that morning. It was printed in a small banner in my bathroom. So when I got married, I did. There are some personal self affirmations that my children always say every day, every morning when I call, even when I call them on phone, they say that. But from the need for us to implement this family statement, I thought, okay, we must quickly put up a bigger one that encompasses all our vision. Because when I also got married, what we did was a summary, a caption of all these visions we have for our family, not the way Stephen Covey describes it. But I'm sharing my personal story with you so that you
Yeah.
can give it a thought, consider it, and implement it for your life, for your family, for your business colleagues. So, even Stephen Covey said, I recently finished reviewing my own mission statement. So it's not something that you can just complete immediately. Else, it's not a mission statement. All right. So take your time and do that. Self-awareness will help you to achieve that. We are rounding up now. Self-awareness, it talks about using your whole brain. Remember, there's a research has shown that the left hemisphere of the brain is more logical. The left part of your brain deals with words. The right one deals with pictures. The left one deals with parts. The right one deals with the whole complete being. So what is advising us here is that we should endeavor at all times to use our whole brain, okay? Because it is true that although people use both sides of their brain, one side or the other generally tends to be dominant. But the point here is that we are capable of performing many different kinds of thought process, and we barely tap the potentials of our brain. So, and two ways to tap the brain is what we have just talked about already. It is the power of visualizing, the power of imagination, exactly, the power of some confessions, mission statements, things, expanding your perspective, saying things, your vision, expressing them. When people seriously undertake to identify that really what really matters most to them in their lives, what they really want to be and to do, they become very reverent. They start to think in larger terms. I don't know. Do you agree with that?
Definitely, definitely. You see, when you're always seeing
Yeah,
that bigger picture, when you are purpose driven, there are some things that lead to
exactly.
very little. You will just
Mm,
easily like go over it. But some individuals who don't have that level of perception or self-ingrained purpose, you see that little things they want to dwell
mm,
long, they want to
mm,
stretch
mm.
on it, overemphasize. Meanwhile, you
Telling
should have
you.
just moved on
Yeah.
and go face something bigger
Mm,
or greater. So definitely, it's
yeah.
always keep balance. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. So let us all do well. As we round up, it's very important that we do well to visualize. We make affirmations. Let us make affirmations. If you have children, teach them to make affirmations. And one of the secrets he has shared with us, there are 5 basic ingredients for a very good affirmation. Number 1, it is personal. It is positive. It's present tense. It's visual and it's emotional. For instance, when my children start reciting their own, you see the expression. Then when I ask them, what can you do? Light will say, I am strong. I'll say, yes. She will say, I am beautiful. I'll say, wow, I can do anything. I'll say, wow, through who? She said, Jesus Christ, who what strengthens me. So these affirmation brings out the best in you, not just children, in your colleagues and everybody. So as we come to an end, here's the assignment. In effective personal leadership, these things we should put them to consideration. So I'm going to go forward down now to give us the application suggestions for today. So even
Okay.
as a company, if you are watching this video, you stumbled on this video right now, you are in an organization, you also need organizational mission statements, okay? One that truly reflects the deep shared vision and values of everyone within that particular organization, okay? They don't need someone, okay, let's just leave that and then focus on the application suggestions, and then we close for today. So what are those application suggestions? It's on the screen right now. So our homework for today, everyone, is this: visualize and make affirmations. These techniques are extremely powerful in rescripting and reprogramming and helping you to experience a paradigm shift. So number 1, set up time to completely separate yourself from daily activities to begin work on your personal mission statement. That's number 1 assignment. Throughout this week, I'm going to be following up on those who are reaching out to me privately for us to do this. Then if you look towards the right, there's a small chart here. Take your time to record the impressions. visualization you did of yourself in the casket, in your funeral ceremony. Just try to pen down take a few moments and write down your roles as you now see them. Are you satisfied with what that mirror image of your life says? So other things, as you can see on the screen, you can pause this video to read everything in details. So as we close for today, I want to say thank you to every one of you who have joined us. Thank you, Edesiri, for being a part of this. We're supposed to last just 45 minutes, and this is 50 minutes spent so far. So I want to say thank you so much for your time, for having to be in the office at the same time. I want to say thank you so much, Edesiri. For those of you who have not joined us yet in this review, please join us. We are just in the second habit. Next weekend, we'll be looking at the third habit, which talks about putting first things first. So at this point, Edesiri, I once again say thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This means a lot. We believe that a lot of persons will come to watch this video shortly as a replay. This video is available on this YouTube channel. You can always watch it as a replay. Should you need inspiration, you need to learn about habits that you need for the year 2024. As the year continues to go, you can come back to watch this video anytime, even if you did not watch it live. So thank you so much, Edesiri. I don't know if you have any final words before I end the stream.
Oh, final words would be try to catch up with the assignment. That's usually the take home. Yeah, we can say a lot of things, but then once put into action, then it's as though we're stalling this. So I want to encourage us. Put in the work. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you so much. All right, we'll be going. Say goodbye now. Goodbye, everyone watching. Just drop your comments in the comment section and let us know what you think about this habit. See you next time. Bye.